Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AJC. All right, it is Monday morning. It should have been a victory morning show, but hey, nonetheless, here we are. A draw against Genoa, all right? 0-0. There's a ton to tackle. As far as news that we're going to get into, it's a merry-go-round, okay, dancing around the obvious top concern for fans. What's happening with the coaching spot, and they're just, everybody is dancing around, and we will get to it after we tackle the game. But Anth, you ready to rock this morning?
You want to know something? I think this is going to be the one where we sort of let the AJC Army dictate where we go. We're going to go through the highlights. Highlights. I pluralize it, but really this maybe only one. Tackle the news, I guess, and then really this is going to be your show, kids.
I've got some things breaking down in how I want to approach post-match because, yeah, there is some things. And again, we're going to have to tackle all the current issues over this past 8-game run, which has been absolutely abysmal and absolutely unacceptable for this Juve side. And we will get to players, their part, their involvement. We will definitely get to Massimiliano Allegri, the coaching role, the position. And I'm going to get into management because I don't think that part has been talked about enough, and their role right now over these past 8 games. And something that I've been looking for because, yeah, if we're not looking at the very top to set the tone, then what the hell are we doing here? So we're gonna tackle it all right now, all right? So as far as the starting lineup, Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Cambiaso, McKennie, Locatelli, Miretti, Kostic ended up getting the start over Illing Jr. We were hearing leading up to it, it was going to be Illing Jr.'s 3rd start in a row. I would have went that route, but Kostic nonetheless ends up getting the start. Vlahovic and Chiesa. That's more than enough to get the job done against Genoa.
What the hell are we talking about here? Of course it is.
You are 1 win out of your last 8. Okay?
7.
Get the job done. You're at home against Genoa. We called it. And this is one of my frustrations. I'll get to it later. In terms of expecting what the opponent's going to do, Genoa played the game exactly how we called it on the preview show, exactly what they were going to do. And that's the part that's infuriating, okay, is that people can call it a mile away, yet we still seemingly go through these games with no friggin' clue on how to hurt the opposition. And that's a major, major problem. And everybody can decide for themselves where that problem comes from, all right? But highlights, yeah, this ain't going to take long, everybody. Okay, so 6 minutes, you got a Banny header off a Goodmanson free kick, stopped by Szczesny. 22nd minute, you got Retegi there with a strike from the left of Szczesny that just goes high, trying to hit that short side corner. 26th minute for the first shot on goal for Juventus, and it is a weak one from about 25 yards out from Gatti. Yeah, if you're in a run of form, 1 win out of your last 8, you're at home to Genoa, and they're parking it. Let's get after it. 26 minutes for your first attempt on target. What the hell are we doing out there?
That was 50% of our shots on goal, that one.
Yeah. 31st minute, cross from Kostic into Gatti again, directing it towards goal. Gatti, for God's sakes.
He was out there all game.
Insane. Blocked, goes out, corner kick and whatnot. That really wraps up the first half, and that's absolutely pathetic. I could have fallen asleep if not for the live watch along. That was brutal. Brutal half of football. Disgusting.
I was running the main. I was running the main account again. Struggling. struggling to write
What do you
something.
comment on? Like, there's nothing to
No idea.
commentate on that match. Like, it was just
Mm-mm.
drab as hell, dire. Second half, we do end up getting some changes, and to be honest, it was one of the few positives I pointed out in this game, and that was that at least the attitude of like Illing Jr. and Yildiz
Mm-hmm.
was positive, because I did
True.
think they stepped in and they were trying. Okay, they were trying, and they were trying to make some type of shift. 66-minute, Illing Jr. with a weak shot that bounces that fooled Martinez, hit the outside of the post.
He got a piece of it.
You
He
know,
got a slight piece of it.
I don't even think he touched it, but we got the corner off of it. But it
Yeah.
didn't even look like it looked like it fooled him or something. I don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
was weird. 68-minute Cambiasso cross in for Vlahovic. Vlahovic just misses the frame there. I think if he puts that one inside, I don't think Martinez
Mm-hmm.
is getting to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another one of my frustrations in this game. If that's your idea and that's what you're going to do, and you're going to start pouring bodies into the box, then start doing it and do it
Mm-hmm.
consistently. We didn't. It's like you get a couple crosses in. It's like, okay, we're creating problems for them aerially. Let's at least do that. No, we don't even do that. We just start going back to the other side, and they're trying to beat guys 1v1. Just figure out what your game plan is against this team. And that part drove me nuts. All right. Now, 74th minute, another header from Vlahovic. This one, he didn't time right. It looked like he kind of got too far ahead of it, had to reach
It was
back.
behind him.
Yeah, and that's a shame.
Mistimed
And
it.
then the Keane comes in, puts one off the post, off of interception off Genoa there, and then it falls to him at the top of the area, slashes at it. But the way his season's going, I'm not surprised. Square off the post, back out, nobody there tapping the rebound. And you got yourselves a 0-0 draw against Genoa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. And
That's
let
it.
the mayhem continue. And continue it will. There's not much to say in terms of commentating on this match. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare.
Well, there's the Vlahovic red card too, but I guess we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will get to that. But in terms of the game, I don't really have a whole lot to say, Ant, other than completely unacceptable, pathetic,
I got nothing.
abysmal. What do you got?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I tried to take some notes. The first half I have here, there was no real urgency. Any breakouts that we did have, we just seemed to kill them. Like something would happen, like we'd slow it up. Everything was going through the left side through Kostic, and just that's where attacking opportunities go to die. I was hoping that they'd make some drastic changes for the second half, which he did. You brought up he made some changes. 57th minute, he was making some subs, which is a little bit earlier than Max normally does it. Yeah, that's it. Nothing.
And the sad reality, the last time one win out of 8 games was Del Neri. And that's full circle how far this has
What
come
year
right
was
now.
that?
Del Neri back in like 09, man.
Mm.
So this is, it just to say it's unacceptable, to say this, we're saying this over and over and over now.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we had going for us earlier on in the season has completely exploded. It's gone. It is broken. Okay. And I don't understand how continuing. I get it. You've got, 9 games remaining. Okay. And we're going to get into this now real quick. But first, we will finish up with that Vlahovic situation. That just shows you where this team is at right now. The warning signs are everywhere for us right now. Okay. In terms of this game, everybody, absolutely everybody, pissed me right off. Players, okay, not playing for the shirt, not fighting, not bare minimum. I don't want to hear about belief, confidence, coaching, and thing. When it comes to the players, you have a job to do regardless of who is in charge there. And it always comes down to winning the battle with the guy across from you. We were so soft on 50-50s. It was junk. It was garbage. It's unacceptable, regardless of what the situation or circumstances are. The players, brutal on their part. Everybody was poor. I don't even think I can call a man of the match because I don't think anybody deserved it. Like, absolutely not. Um, and when you're scrambling for positives, and we're going and looking at guys that came in as subs, young guys, Illing Jr. and Yildiz, it's another ongoing story that the key guys or guys that are supposed to be the key guys for this team have not been up to the cut. Bottom line. Bottom line.
Put whoever you want in there.
Yeah. Take your pick.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Okay. Now, as far as the warning signs, even the Vlahovic scenario, getting himself sent off there, that is a sign of where this team stands right now. Another sign, this team came from a retiro. Okay, he wanted to keep everybody together. He wanted to do this thing so that they could snap out of this funk or whatnot. And that's what you get off the backside of that. That is a huge red flag. That message, there is no message. There's nothing getting through right now. Huge red flag if that's the effort and work rate you get on the backside of a retiro. What do you think, Ed?
Well, you would hope that they would do something different. They didn't do anything different than we've seen in recent weeks, right? The same play style. Now, listen, again, I thought defensively we were fine. They didn't threaten us at all. So if there is a positive you want to take from that game, Tech had nothing to do. He had made that one save in the 6th minute, and that was it. So is that on his defense? Is that on Genoa just being toothless? Probably a bit of both. But going forward, there was no creativity whatsoever, and this is something that's been we've been rehashing, and the Army's been saying for a long time. And is that on Max? Is that on the players? I think you can. And I think we'll go through all that as we move on here through this show. But you can pass the blame evenly to everybody. Like there's no one person to put this on. I think there's an even amount that can go to everybody. But
yeah, the thing is this is why I say yesterday I was pissed with absolutely everybody. Absolutely everybody. I mean, knowing what Genoa is going to do, calling this out on all the preview shows, like, okay, they're going to come in, they're going to defend. That's how they play on the road through Giardino. They were going to match us up. We've lost count of how many times we've seen teams play with 5 across the back that shut down the flanks. We have to go through the middle. So what was new? What was different that was going to work yesterday? That we haven't been able to solve all these times before. Miretti and McKennie on either side of Locatelli. Okay. I was shouting for even a simple change of putting Cambiasso in the middle. Get Weston McKennie out at right wing back. At least Cambiasso's dynamic. Even that would have been some type of initiative, some type of trying something. Two-man pivot, play one more advanced to support Chiesa and Vlahovic, who, by the way, had individual shockers on their own, especially Chiesa. But at one point in this game, when Genoa is not threatening, okay,
at all,
why can't you try something new there and say, you know what? We got to get after this. We got to get a win. We got to at least score a goal, and let's play the trident. Let's go with Yildiz, Chiesa, and Vlahovic. Let's try to help Chiesa out here. He's struggling, but let's get the 3 of them out there going. Why not? Genoa had 0 attempts in the second half. They completely clamped down. Like, what are we afraid of in going at all he did, Max, was change player for player. There was nothing new. There was nothing coming in terms of an influence out of him for me that would see us push for something new, push for some type of change. It's just player for player. And I thought, well, are we going to get after this thing or not?
Yeah, normally it was the retreat. Did the players have any? Normally you do that. Yeah, you try to build up the camaraderie. Listen, we got 9 games left in this season. If you're doing one of these things at this point, it's an absolute dumpster fire. That you do those when you have a dumpster fire. We did it at the beginning of the season. I think it was the beginning of last year.
It was after
Uh,
Monza, I believe.
there we go. So, but that's like what, 8 games into the season? Like this is there is something we were talking about this behind the scenes. Sorry, in the group chat. Something happened after that Empoli game, and we don't know what it is. We may never find out what it is. Something happened, and I don't think it's. We don't think it's. We all have our own little theories, but mine are a little bit darker than others. But we have our own. Something happened after that Empoli game behind the scenes. Nothing, nothing out in the open can explain why this team is going on a run like this.
Yeah.
There's got to be something else. It can't
Yeah.
just be Max. It can't just be the players talking about, oh, we tied Empoli, our season's done. There's got to be more. There's got to be more to this.
Yeah. Jay Softic here saying Giardino started with 3 clear forwards plus Messias, who is winger forward. There's absolutely no reason for us to try Yildiz, Vlahovic, Kesa together. This is not accurate, number one, because Goodmanson played in out of the midfield. He was deep, okay? You saw it through the first half. He played behind Retegi. Messias was used as an outside mid. Same with Spence on the other side. Regardless of what he did, how he played that, they had 0 opportunities in the second half. They were not threatening. They were not threatening us. We need the points. You get after it. I can't stress this enough. There absolutely was a call to try and tip the scales in your favor in terms of creation. We had seemingly no ideas on how to create or hurt Genoa. And this is one of 70 instances probably over the past several years where teams have done this to us and we still have no idea what we want to do. That, no matter what, is on your coaching and your coaching staff. If you can't figure out an idea of how you want to attack a team or hurt them, okay, knowing damn well what that team was going to do going into set game, that is a major issue that we continuously see. Simply, while I do agree there are issues with this roster that we have tackled a lot in terms of the roles, and there are gaps there, you still have to work with what you have, and you still have to try and influence some type of change, some type of solution with what you have. Simply plugging in what you do have here, changing a player here and there, and hoping for the best is not going to do it.
What was the game where we completely? It was in this run. I can't remember which game it was where we switched tactics and we just drove everything through the middle. I think it was when Alcaraz started.
Well, we
What
did
game
it.
was
We
that?
looked good against Napoli because it was an open game. Atalanta, though, was kind of defense too, but we were still doing better. But that made a big difference just simply even with Miretti and Alcaraz. But the problem is then you see some individual errors and whatnot coming through. So there is still a gap there in terms of these guys, in terms of these players. But now I think if this is the reaction off of a retiro, the message is dead. There's nothing happening.
It's not getting through. It's not getting through.
If we
I
go
agree.
back to when we were talking about the early rumors of Massimiliano Allegri potentially getting an extension, we said, based on where Juve stood, maybe just maybe this would be a good thing for Juve to keep the stability, keep building forward. What did we say it would take? An epic collapse for this team to be like, no, well, hey, welcome to set epic collapse, because that is exactly what we are in right now. We're free fall.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, there was what were we at here? We were up until the Lecce match here. So I'm just looking at my notes here on the other screen. So up until that Lecce match, we had 1 loss and 4 draws. Right, that was our last. Well, we did beat Frosinone, but outside of this 8-game schneid. So up until that point, it was, let's keep it rolling. Keep everyone's starting to get healthy. Everyone was healthy. Dusan was firing away there. He had 5 or 6 goals at the start of 2024. But a lot of people who listen, you and I are not on the Allegri in or out. We don't play those games. But a lot of the people who are saying, look, that we were just winning, we were scraping out games 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, right up until this slide started. So this was bound to happen. I sort of agree with that, but I can't discount that there's got to be something else going on, and maybe it is that contract talk.
Because we're going to get into
just
this
losing
because...
one game, just getting a draw to Empoli doesn't put a team into a free fall like this.
Exactly. Like, as far as the players go, real quick for me, it's just the 50-50s said it all. The energy, the attitude, off of a retiro,
Genoa
stating the importance of getting this thing back on track, getting a win at home to Genoa. No disrespect to them, but it's just not good enough, okay? No heart, no guts, no balls from these guys. Soft and 50-50s, no imagination, no creativity. They're hiding right now. And this is the part that bothers me a lot about these players. Kudos to Yildiz and Illing Jr., but I don't want to look to those guys to be our saviors. And that's a major problem. We got too many guys, going back to those key players, hiding. They are hiding right now. And Max is partially responsible because he's babied these guys. All right? And after this match, I don't want to see Miretti going up to the microphone. I want to hear from the guys who are supposed to be goddamn leaders of this team, and I want them addressing what the hell's going on. And I want to know from somebody what the hell's being done to figure this out. Why can't you guys get your heads out of your ass and figure this out? I don't want to hear from Miretti.
That was a little weird that they sent the 20-year-old up there, or 21-year-old.
What are we doing here? And then Max is losing it. Max is on tilt right now, okay? You guys want to, talk about Max. The main thing is he going to survive this? Okay, well, let's get into it. Because the news, all you're going to get for news right now, we've seen it, is a carousel, okay, of Max. Don't think he's going to stay. There's the possibility he's going to stay, and that's all it is. It's people dancing around this thing because right now the media can do whatever they want, say whatever they want. Juve's doing nothing to, give us anything. And I'm fine with that because I understand the situation right now. But we do have to look at this. Can Max survive this? It would take an epic collapse. We are in an epic collapse. We're free falling, okay? From management, though, I need a reaction because Max is doing everything and all the focus. Who
specifically?
Well, we'll get to this. Max is the one at the forefront of all of this. It's always Max. It's always his face. It's always him in the press or whatnot. Where is everybody else in this? Because for me, Allegri should have been last week's show. I said I needed the Riot Act read to these guys.
Yes.
Max should have been a part of that because the call that should have been everybody in this room right now. We're shutting the door, and the message should have been from Calvo, Giuntoli, all those guys, and Max should have been sitting down with the players. And it should have been the higher ups addressing all of them, saying what's going on is absolutely pathetic.
Do we know that hasn't happened? Are we confident that hasn't happened?
I hope it would have happened. But if this is what you're seeing and that did happen, blow the whole thing up. So I'm going to say no because
I don't think it's happened.
I don't think it's happened because that should have. Max should have been sitting down with the players. The team should have been addressed from above Max's head and say, look, guys, we're sellers. You guys should be playing for your lives. And Max should have been a part of that call too. Like, you're playing for your future at Juve because this is unacceptable. It's called setting a standard, keeping people at a standard. Right now, the standards have slid yet again. And that is the biggest issue over these past couple of years that seems to keep creeping up. We're waiting for an identity to be built. We're waiting for something. We thought we had an identity building this season. It's like, okay, at least we can move forward with this. The identity has been shell-shocked and it's gone. So what do we have to fall back on? Now you don't even have work rate or effort. You have guys pulling this crap after a retiro. I'm 100% of the belief something has gone down behind the scenes to see a Juventus that is unrecognizable to what we were. I fail to believe a 1-1 Empoli match caused this. Do you agree or disagree, Ann? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I said it before, and so I don't want to. I don't want to say what I think it is because again, my mind goes into some dark places. But it may have been, and again, I'm just spitballing here. It may have been that happened where Giuntoli read everybody the Riot Act and said, "All your asses are in slings, right? I will send each and every one of you to the Siberian gulags if I have to make money for this team. I don't care." Maybe that's what it was. That may have happened. We don't know. But something happened. I don't know what it is. And maybe people here in the AJC Army, if you guys want to put what you guys think, I'd
drop your theories. I don't know, but
what are your theories?
Something has had to have happened behind the scenes. Now, it could be a number of things. Like, honestly, I find myself losing my head over the different scenarios, possibilities. Like, Max Allegri and what he said out in the press. I mean, let's take a look at it. Yesterday, he said, this was a great performance in terms of attitude and energy and work rate. What on earth game could you be watching that you come out and say attitude and energy was good yesterday? This guy and what he's saying in the press can't match what's going on behind the scenes and what's being said to the team. The retiros, we know the players don't like the retiros because 3 of them last season said we hate retiros. 3 of them flat out came in and said, no, we don't like that. Like,
they don't do anything.
So you come out and play like that after one. I don't think that the message is anywhere near behind the scenes what he's giving everybody in the media. And I think maybe, just maybe he's lost them with something he said to the players behind the scene. Maybe it has something to do with contracts. Because if you look right around that Empoli game and following, what was the main rumor that started flying around at that time? The main rumor that flew around at that time was his extension. Was Max Allegri's contract extension. That was the main one that picked up right around the 1-1 before Empoli, and then following, it started picking up steam that he could be renewing. Plus, on top of that, you have players that are fighting for extensions, but also trying to get salaries spread out and everything. I think that maybe, just maybe, there's a lot going on behind the scenes we don't know about that these guys have just reacted to or something. Like, I fail to believe it's 1-1 against Empoli and all this goes. Something has happened. Something has happened.
We've seen it with Romeo Gresti and Mirko Di Natale. I wouldn't say that their sources have dried up, but Giuntoli has really plugged all the holes. You don't get a lot of leaks anymore. Like, you'll see, like, even stuff that you used to get, which was accurate, right? The way you were getting information, that doesn't happen anymore. So Giuntoli's really closed all those loops, and that's a good thing. Like, it was starting to get annoying. Now you can just let the Gazzetta, you can let all of them, Corriere dello Sport, you can let them do all their stuff now, all their speculations, because they have no idea. They don't have no idea what's going on. Um, but in terms of wanting to hear more from the management, if Calvo and Ferraro get in front of a microphone, that means to me that means nothing. What those guys say, those guys are businessmen. They don't really carry any weight.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Juntoli in front of a group, in front of a microphone, at the front of media or in front of reporters. I'd like to see him answering questions. Now, this isn't really his team, right? He sort of brought some pieces in. He came in last summer with no money to work with. I think that's sort of something that people forget. He bought one player last year. Wea, that's it. So he hasn't really started to work right yet. He brought Alcaraz in, right? We'll see how that turns out. So far, not bad. We're not going to pay 40 million for him, but he still hasn't put his full stamp on this yet. So if there's anybody who I'd like to see address the media on what's going on now, I'd like to see Juntoli come out and start talking.
It's it's getting ugly. I
Mm-hmm.
I know that what he's gonna say is gonna be very, very PR,
Probably.
jargon and whatnot. However, I'd like to see these guys start to be asked about the standards, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And how like this is simply isn't the standard. We hear Max Allegri being asked all sorts of garbage, and it's like just hold them to a standard. If you're trying to feed a team, exactly, respect the colors, as Alex Juve puts here. If you're trying to hold fans into this moment and say, oh, and tell us that this is all right because of top four, it isn't all right. It isn't all right for so many different reasons because of what we're seeing on the pitch. And I'm not talking about play style. While everybody wants to talk about play style, all that, I don't give a shit about how the results come, okay? It's about the attitude. It's about
Mm-hmm.
the what you're getting from your players. If right now I don't see a respect for where they are. And we've highlighted that in a lot of scenarios. Fagioli's little fiasco there and whatnot, like that, like I don't think it seems based on the last set of words that he said, he understands how
Mm-hmm.
fortunate he is to still be
Mm-hmm.
at this club. But
Yep.
that's a situation. Paul Pogba, I'll have faith that the team sorts that out
He's
pretty
coming
soon
back,
or come
by the way.
season's end and cuts the ties there. But there's
He's
got to
gonna
be
happen.
standards that we hold people to, okay? There has to be standards there that we hold these guys to. But Max needs to be held to a standard as well, okay? He needs to be held to a standard as well. And that's why I said I am looking to management now. Do we believe that he can survive this? Like I've been saying through this run, 6 points out of 24, whenever it was, now we're 7 points, 27, whatever. Like there can't be an extension coming.
There's no way.
There,
There's
there
no way.
can't.
So it looks like there's some Romeo Gressi just posted some here.
No, it's the same as what we were
We'll
talking
see.
before.
Oh, the same
It's
stuff.
not even news. It's
It's just
it's
his
more
opinion.
it's more
It's his opinion.
opinion. It's a,
Yeah.
a feeling. Okay, well, I got a lot of feelings. Okay, right now they're all pretty bad about what's going on. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
can he save this season? A Coppa Italia. For me, if you're looking at right now a coaching change that everybody is trying to talk about, this is a battle that Juve's probably fighting mentally because do you try to hang on right now? You can't lose top four. Bottom line.
Okay. So do you need the numbers? Let's get the numbers out of the way. I'll sort of doing those while we're talking here. So there are 9 matches left, right? So 27 points available. Our magic number against Bologna is 23. So any number of us gaining 3 points or them losing any points that add up to 23, and with Roma, it's 20. So we were sort of talking about this before the show. Rome essentially has to win 7 of their 9 games, and we have to lose 7 of 9 for them to overtake us. Well, somewhere around there. Like it's not. I'm not going to say it's locked up, but Rome has to go on one hell of a run here to catch us.
Yeah.
But based on how we're playing,
And based
we
how
may be
they're
able to help
doing,
them out.
it could
Yeah.
happen. Like, I mean, Jesus, we're 7 points out of 8 games.
Mhm.
Like that's a
So 7.
nightmare.
So we're talking about this. So when Max said this is all sort of based on the target of 70 points.
If his calculation
70.
is correct, yeah.
It's looking like 70 points is the number. You get to 70, you're in the top 4.
So we need 11 points out of 9, and we just got 7 out of 8. So yeah,
So
little
we're on
cause for
pace.
concern.
We're on pace. Yeah, we should be all right.
Listen, a coaching change now. This is the main question that everybody's kind of come up with. Pull the trigger now, whatever. Do you bring in an interim? What do you do, Ant? If you have control and it's your call right now, I'm curious what your move would be looking at it from the outside in, obviously, as we don't have anything on the inside, but what's your move?
I said if this Schneid happened in, let me just put it back here. If this Schneid happened in January, you do it. If this was end of November going into like January, you do it because you have a full 19 games left. With 9 games to go, I see the benefit. I see the perceived benefit. Like, but who are you bringing in? Right? That's the question. Everyone's looking at De Rossi and Roma, but they might have caught lightning in a bottle there. Let's just pump the brakes. Let's just see how that plays out for an entire season. I don't. I think it would cause too much turmoil getting rid of Allegri now. Pains me to say it, but I think you got to ride it out. There's not enough games left to, right? If there was another 19 games, yes, but with only 9 left, I wouldn't do it.
You guys, get the likes up, okay? Get the likes up. Got you all fired up here. You guys are all chiming in here. So Adam's saying, is that not going to cost us? Is it worth it to do it now? Immediately, you have James Lapierre. Get him out now to show the club has the power and resolve to make big calls. More time with the next coach, the better. The other thing is, too, would it necessarily be our next coach?
It won't.
Because
it's just going to be an interim coach.
The battle that they would probably fight is Malta might be the guy they want.
It is. I think it is.
And do you make this change for the sake of making the change? 9 games remaining. You probably will still get top 4, but the finances, when it comes to cost, like Adam brought up, you're going to have to do that anyways, because I don't think we can continue. Like, that's pretty much a given that I think everybody is now seeing, even the Allegri supporters and the guys that have backed Allegri, myself being one over earlier on in the season, okay?
I was there too.
We're all seeing this now that this just can't continue. So one way or another, the cost can't be factored in. It's something that you're just going to have to bite the bullet on. I can't see us moving forward.
Unless there is a penalty or some sort of clause where if he's fired mid-season, there's some sort of financial, right, penalty for that. You don't know. There could be something where if it's mid-season or...
I would be at the point where I don't even, if that's the case, I don't even fire him. I say, your position has now been switched. This is what you're going to be doing while you're here under contract. Or like, whatever. But for me, you have an international break now. A couple weeks. Okay?
If you're going to do it, you do it now.
If you're going to do something, now would probably be the time, and give your guys that that time, right? In an interim, Or do you bite the bullet and go back to a guy like Conte? Conte, would he accept during this period and this run?
He would want the whole boat.
I would think he'd want the summer. I don't think he wants to walk into someone else's storm and be like, oh yeah, I'll come in and be. But again, that guy's ego is of the highest degrees. He might be like, yeah, I'll come clean up this guy's mess. I'll turn the tides over 9 games, and then whatever happens. Maybe they tie in a little bonus, try and spice things up for him if he can secure that. I don't know. Obviously, he would want the following seasons. I'm not saying Conte comes in for 9 games. I'm saying he would be the guy then. So the decision for Juventus is, do you tie into Conte and bring him in for 2 years, 3 years? Or do you wait it out 9 games with how things are going right now and then try to act on maybe Malta or something? Do you bring up Montero as an interim for 9 games?
An internal upgrade, an internal hiring would be really the only way to go. Because does Montero, which team does he do? The Primavera or the... Can't remember which one he coaches. Anyways. No, it's Pirlo. He's not available. Please stop. Please stop with the Pirlo. Can we just stop with that? Okay. Mota's their guy. I think there is a 1% chance that they fire Max with 9 games to go.
Yeah. Now, if you're going to ask me about how I feel about it, I've been saying all the while, it's definitely not on him. It's not all on Max. However, Max is in the chair that bears a lot of the weight. And the bottom line that it will always come to, no matter how we as fans divide the blame, it doesn't matter whatsoever because it's all about the club. No player, no coach comes above the club. The bottom line is what's happening can't happen, and I am looking at management for a reaction. The fans were jeering yesterday and booing, rightfully so, to be honest. And this created a little bit of a discussion where some were saying, let's get, they were saying, let's get some thoughts on this. And we were talking about, we got Omer jumping in here now. What's up, my man? Just getting to the whole scenario, talking about fans.
Would love to hear Omer's opinion on this.
Okay.
I'm so excited to hear his opinion on this.
Listen, they said that it's a little bit different over there with the Ultras because the Ultras were calling out these fans that were cheering and booing and whatnot. And I don't agree with it. And the reason is that, not that I'm fine with them jeering and booing. What I don't agree with is the Ultras' take on that. Because I don't like creating pedestals of fandom. Okay? What you choose to do is your right. But I do understand from the fan perspective because they want a reaction. We've been dying for a reaction from this team for quite some time now. And now we have hit completely unacceptable standards. 1 win in 8 games. Like, it's ridiculous. We've hit Del Neri numbers. Something has to change. Fans jeering and booing at the stadium. You know what? You paid a lot of money. You're sitting in that spot. If you're not happy, I have no problems with that. Okay? Because you're not taking a billboard out, ad space out, disrespecting people. You're voicing your opinion, okay, on what you just spent your hard-earned money on to watch.
Traveling. A lot of people travel.
I have no problems with them doing that. What people need to understand from the Ultras perspective is that they see things as a family. They believe it's a family. So their thought is you don't turn on your own. You know, you protect your own. And they see all the family, Juventus as a whole family. And they want to protect their own unless one of those members goes out of line and speaks badly towards the family. Okay. But guess what? Sometimes even family members need a good slap across the face and told to smarten up. This team needs that. And if it comes to booing or jeering, I have no problems with it. They need a wake-up call. We need a reaction as a fan base because what we're seeing is unacceptable. Your guys' thoughts on that whole thing?
Omer.
Well, hello everyone in the chat too. um, yeah, I haven't made up my mind about it, but like I said, I don't like giving different degrees of fandom, and you're this fan, but it's nothing new. I mean, the fan base has been divided for I don't know what, it's like 5, 6 seasons since Ronaldo, basically, and I don't feel like it's getting any better. I mean, we always find something. I'm not into other clubs. I don't know how their fan base works and stuff, but ours have been divided for a long time. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If you pay the ticket, you flew from wherever and sit at the stadium and you get a performance that's not worthy of even mid-table clubs, yeah, you're entitled to express your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
I'm not angry about them in
yeah.
any way.
And any issues with it?
And then when the ultras want to express their displeasure with the club or with the players, what do? So I'm with
Hang
you.
banners.
It's really
Put banners
nothing.
up.
It's really nothing. And I have no problems with these fans that are doing that. It's not like it's one bad game. Like, this is an unacceptable period of form right now, and we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing anything that's changing. For me, this game yesterday highlighted the lack of coaching influence and also showed me where these players are at, that even a retiro doesn't change anything. Now we need bigger changes. We need a bigger reaction, and it should come from those above Allegri. But right now, the big question that you just kind of came into, we're on a little bit of the back end, Omer, is do you make a change right now at this moment, 9 games left, if you're in control?
Emotionally, yes, yesterday. Logically, I don't know because we're expecting it to be like Roma, an immediate effect, and usually there is that. Like when there's a new coach for at least 2, 3 games, there's like an immediate effect, and something does seem broken between Allegri and the players, like something really severe happened that we don't know about backstage. I don't know. It's a tough question. Logically, no. For 9 games, no, and I'm not sure anyone would even take that job anyway, especially not Conte. Um, yeah, I would do it, but I totally get why no one else would.
I kind of feel like we've seen the change that could come from just coaching, and there's been no reaction. I still think like a Coppa Italia doesn't change for me what we've just seen. The message is
No,
dead and it's clear as day. It has to come from management. I know there's only 9 games. I know what we're facing realistically at trying to get another coach to come in here, whatnot, at this moment. But I might even be open to Montero stepping up for 9 games. A guy that's been part of some wonderful Juventus squads, that knows what Juve is all about, and putting more emphasis on the players and say, look, you guys, like I said, I need something from the management above Allegri. Allegri's message has run dry. There's no stimulus, there's no impact, and he's not showing any signs of altering even a formation or trying to change things up out of what we get on the pitch. Like, it's simply plug and play players. There's no ideas, there's no influence. You have to
unless we're
try
losing.
something.
Unless we're losing, and then we try everything.
yeah, so it hasn't been enough. But if a retiro brings such a negative reaction in terms of energy work, that's the biggest red flag for me right there. if you're, what you're trying to do to turn this around has a complete 180 effect from what you wanted the outcome to be, for me, it's done. And I think that you would get more just out of a breath of fresh air and say, you know what? This can't keep happening. You got to switch it around. Interim, this is the guy. But now it's on you as players. You guys have nowhere to hide now, because I do see a level of hiding from these guys as well. And it's unacceptable. And no more sending Miretti out to the press on a 1 win out of 8 game runs. I want to start hearing from these other guys, the same guys that were calling their own performances out, Locatelli, Danilo, Vlahovic. I want to see you guys answer the call. And what Vlahovic did, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it just shows you mentally how far we've come from the team that was succeeding earlier on this season. We're unrecognizable.
That's like a month and a half ago. It's not
I
like
know.
in September. That's what's crazy.
Welcome to our nightmare.
Yeah.
This-
No, it's unprecedented.
Isn't
I don't remember us ever having like this bad of a downfall. Like a month and a half, 2 months ago, this squad looked united, on the same page. The chemistry was there, the drive was there, and in an instant, it all just evaporated and disappeared completely. I've never seen anything like this from you.
So Ryan, I think it was Ryan who brought up at the beginning of the show. You might have missed Omer. We had a 1 win in 8 games in 2010-11 under Del Nieri.
Yeah, our worst season. But that season was bad to begin with. And I mean, it wasn't good in any way. Like a shift from 1 point from, being Scudetto contenders to what it is now. I don't know, 16, 17 points in a month and a half.
Yeah.
18,
That's
I think it
insane.
was. Mhm.
18, even worse.
This is insane to think how far we've come. And top four is a must. It's a must.
I mean, we are looking over our shoulders now. We are looking down to Bologna. We're not looking up to beat Milan.
And
in our
again,
current form.
one of the biggest things through all this, Max is on tilt now, and we're seeing it in the media. His reaction yesterday, even before that, we gained a point on Bologna. That's where he lost me, you guys. That's where the moment you start speaking like that,
After
now
the Atalanta game? Is that when he said that?
that we've gained a point on Bologna. Now, the standards, going back to the standards, that's the biggest problem I have. Who is dictating the terms? Who is setting the tone for the standards that should be at the club? Because right now, where the hell are Ferrara and Scanavino? Because they're not doing it. So where's Giuntoli? Because I would love to hear somebody above Max come out and say, that's not right for Juventus, because the only guy that did it was Ravanelli immediately and the entire fan base. You don't talk like what is that type of mentality? So for me, standards is the big thing right now. And we're playing an ugly, ugly game with the standards that everybody at Juventus should have to abide by. And that's the part that I have the biggest problem with. Because for me, I don't care about players, coaches, anything. It's about the club, but where are the standards? Ant, go ahead.
I think if you roll out Calvo and Fidel, it's just going to be lip service. They're not going to – what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do right now? We have no money. You can't buy anybody in March. What are we talking about here? What are they going to tell you? I understand that you want somebody – and I would say
I want a reaction. I need a reaction. You don't need money. It's going to take them money to make the same change there, but these players are not responding whatsoever to the guy there, and it's evident.
Yeah. Yeah, their non-reaction speaks volumes, and it basically sends out a message of Max is at fault for everything.
Exactly. And that's not the case, but you can't let it
It's not the
continue.
case.
So it isn't all on Max. And we know that. It would be silly to think that it's all on Max. But the thing is, again, you can't let this ride out. And in a way, it's kind of it's not fair to Max because that is the picture that's being painted and nobody else at the club has done anything differently to let anyone believe any different. You know, there's people that still believe everything is Max's call, even down to who Juntoli is trying to target for the summer. Like nobody knows what's going on, but right now all I'm looking at is a team that has zero response, zero reaction. And I'm not of the mentality to sit back and watch that happen. Circumstances or not, top 4 is a must. And we're looking over our shoulder when we had a clear-cut lead. Like it's the wheels are off the wagon right now. Like
Yeah,
it's
that stretch that we just went through, that was our easy stretch. That was a
yeah,
stretch
Yeah,
to get points, to
yeah.
distance ourselves. That's a bit of a problem. I see Forza Juve brought up a comment here. Juntoli needs to tell the players that if they don't deliver this summer, he might have said that. I am of full confidence that this team is also mentally weak. There's no leaders here, right?
mm,
You can really kind of argue
exactly.
that there's
I
no
totally agree.
veteran leadership on
Exactly.
this team. And I think
That's
if Juntoli goes
exactly.
in there and starts yelling those kind of things, it's going to crack some players.
That's exactly what I thought yesterday. I mean, this guy here, we're missing so many profiles that just leadership profiles. Guy who wouldn't let the players perform to the level that they did on the pitch. Okay, let's leave Max out of this. And I like Danilo, but he's no Buffon and he's no Chiellini and no Barzali and no whoever. The lack of leaders on the pitch during matches to push the team forward is evident. And what can we say? I mean, you don't buy leaders, you make leaders, but right now we're severely lacking in leadership.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's I it's so hard to pinpoint and everybody's got their thoughts and their feelings about how to act and how to move. All I can tell you, we can't continue like this.
Hmm.
It can't continue like this.
Oh,
Like
that that
what are we
that was
serious
five
right
matches
now? Like
ago.
there has to be some type of reaction. And even if it takes, which may or may not have happened, but even if it takes Calvo, Juntali walking in there and saying, guys, and even addressing Max sitting there with the players staring at them, like, where's the separation here in this club? Is Max involved as close with Calvo, Juntali, and everything, and the players feel this big separation? Or is it, in fact, Calvo, Juntali, Manna, Allegri, the players? Like, nobody really knows. We're all feeding off this media perception and everything, but the message needs to be clear about our standards. What we're seeing is well beneath our standards. And that's the part that pisses me off the most. Personalities out of the equation. This is not acceptable. It was not acceptable back then. It sure as hell isn't acceptable right now. And that's the bottom line. Anybody's guess as to what's going to happen. But more than likely, this team tries to ride it out. You know, more than
Hmm.
likely, this team tries to ride it out in the 9 games and get over that finish line. I am at the point, I'm not going to do it, but I would almost bet Kits that, you
Don't do
know,
it.
he ain't going to be around next summer. I cannot see it. But yes,
Don't do it.
Sam, we talked about it. We are going full circle. We have gone full circle. And it's brutal. It's brutal. Things have to change. Top 4 is, man,
I still think we're fine. I still think we're fine for top four.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I
but
hope so.
is that our goal? Finish fourth and just make it to the Champions League, and that's it. Because
yes,
that would
at
be
this point,
possibly
yes.
worse than the previous two seasons. Last year, mathematically, we were in third place. Milan were out of the top four. A year before that, also third place. So finishing fourth is actually worse than the past 2 seasons, who were awful. And I couldn't imagine this season would be even worse with no Champions League, one game a week. I don't know. Maybe the international break will do us some favors and players will come back with a bit of a different mentality. But I won't hold my breath. Something is completely broken in the team.
I am kind of leaning towards Tony Trim here in the fact that we can't simply shrug this off. I think it's a bit deeper now from what we're seeing.
Oh, I'm willing to put money down. Max is not here in the summer.
Oh yeah, like
I,
I
I
can't
think
see
everyone's had
that.
enough.
But in terms of top four, and some saying that look, we could get slapped around in Champions League, like the finances are critical. We have to qualify for the Champions League. Don't think about how this team is going to perform because number one, there will be changes to the team. I expect a coaching change as well. You can't ask for turnarounds like this over and over and over. You just can't do it.
That's an
And
interesting question. Go ahead, Omer.
Allegri also seems like he's had enough. That he just doesn't have the fuel in him to continue
He's on
around
tilt
this
everywhere. Yeah. Look at that media thing yesterday where he had a line there about the fans and concern or the fans discontent and whatnot. He says that doesn't concern me. I'm a coach.
Yep.
Like I don't care about. Essentially saying he doesn't care about the fans' opinions. He's just a coach.
He got into a bit of a row with the journalist too. I know some of the stuff he was taken into context. Some people say, "Can you make a comment about racism?" That's not what the question was. I saw that get floated. People need to watch the clip. They didn't ask him about say no to racism. That's not what he asked when he walked off. So if you need a translation, go find an Italian friend to translate it for you, because that's not what happened. Secondly, he got into a bit of a row with the journalists when they were talking about he didn't like how they were asking the questions after the game. He's like, I'm a coach, you're a journalist. I don't tell you how to be a journalist. You don't tell me how to be a coach. Can you rephrase your question? Or are you asking me a question? Because they're asking like how, like, what's the feeling? What's going on? Basically,
they weren't really questioning. They were stating. And that's what he didn't like.
Well, and after you tie Genoa 0-0 after you retreat, I would hope that he's pissed off.
Yeah.
And basically that's what he was. He's like, can you ask the question more properly? And then the guy asked the question. Allegri answered it. And the guy was like, well, that's sort of a shitty answer. He's like, well, that's my answer. So
well, Max always gives shitty answers. So our only striker for Lazio is Keane, basically.
Yeah.
Shit.
And Chiesa?
Yeah, no, I mean striker.
Oh, striker.
Keane will be the only striker.
Oh, and I see some people talking here about Champions League. Do you guys think that we're gonna completely revamp this club this summer? Like this, we're gonna buy 8. Not you, but like, I would be shocked if we finished third in the group next year, whatever group we're in.
Doesn't matter. Qualifying is a lot of money.
Yeah,
finishing fourth.
I agree, but I'm just saying people have these expectations like Champions. We're in Champions League next year. You all better keep your expectations low of us. If we make Champions League, what we're actually going to do in it next year.
It goes back to the build though, and we've been saying it. This is not. We haven't technically started the build. Okay, it's been cleanup. So again, the money helps with that. So yeah, these expectations and everything, we'll have to see. And also, no groups next year, by the way. Yeah, Dell's popping in here that it's actually they're switching the format. It's going to be a big table and everything. Regardless, this build has yet to develop. And the frustrating part about this whole thing, where we're at right now, is that there is still no identity formed. We thought we had it earlier this season. We have found out in the worst way possible there is no identity to fall on. So points, people that want to talk about points and max earning points and another coach can't come in and get these types of points with these players, etc. That doesn't really matter anymore. And it goes out the window when you have no foundation. When you have no foundation, it doesn't matter if you finish with 78 points or you finish with 70. You know, the only thing that would solve that is if you pull off Scudetto, okay?
Ew.
But otherwise, 8 points more, 10 points less, whatever, it all falls by the wayside if you have no foundation and no identity, and we have still yet to form that. So for me, it's time to push for something more. The stimulus is dead, though, and that's the scariest part. And now the standards. I want to see the club hold everyone accountable to the standards that they should be meeting. Now, storm the barn. We got time. We got to get into this, you guys. So, Alex Juve is going to get right into it. A short term. If Max does, in fact, is let go, who comes? I would only expect someone internal like Montero.
It'd be an
I
internal
don't think
hire.
any coach is coming.
Maybe someone without a job, maybe like a Dionisi who was fired from Sassuolo will be like a cheap option till the end of the season. But otherwise, there will be someone from within.
Yeah, I think Montero would be the ideal guy. Like, even if you're offering, we talked about this earlier, even if you're offering a guy a 3-year contract on the backside of it, okay? But you got to come in these 9 games, they probably won't accept that. Nobody's going to want to walk into this mess. They're going to want a fresh slate in the summer to do their thing. Like, this is such a tough spot even for a guy to come in and accept. Like, yeah, I get 2 years on the backside of it, but I'm not walking into this right now. No way. Cleaning up this shit? No. Like, I'll start fresh in the summer. You know? I think that's a tough ask, and I don't think anybody just walks in and accepts that. I really, really don't. Landucci, it can't be anyone involved right now if you're doing it for me. Like, just see ya.
Clean slate.
Clean cut.
Yeah.
Yep. Lance
It's nobody involved right now because it ain't happening. Swati, with Dusan and Milik out against Lazio, will you start Fede and Yildiz against Lazio, or do we go with Moise Kean? What do you guys do?
All three of them.
I'd start both of them,
All 3 of them.
or all 3.
I don't know if it would work. I know what doesn't work, and the 3-5-2 doesn't work anymore. So whatever you have to do, but looking at Juve play, I mean, there's just no chemistry. Everyone is so far apart from each other. No one in the center. Something has to change on the field in positioning, because it doesn't work. I get Vlahovic frustration yesterday. I get it. We just cross after cross after cross. He doesn't get the ball to feet, not with his face to go, nothing. Stop banging your head against the wall and try something different. The 3-5-2 doesn't cut it anymore.
It's not the formation. It's the roles, man.
Not with these guys, not with these guys.
It's the roles, man. You watch teams play 3-5-2. You could play 4-3-3.
No,
You could do whatever.
It's not 3-5-2 in general. It's Max's
we don't have
3-5-2.
the guys don't interpret the roles good, and the midfield is the constant weakness. And the problem is that the 3-5-2 is built to support your midfield. They just can't figure out their positioning to save their goddamn lives. Chiesa wants to drift out to the left. Kostic cannot understand how to invert his play to save his goddamn life. And you have a guy continuously playing him. Illing Jr. comes in. It helps a little bit. Chiesa was on a shocker himself yesterday. But out of the midfield, McKennie just didn't look like himself. And he looked like he had no gas, no nothing. So much for a retiro. I don't understand it. But Cambiaso, when you're asking fullbacks to step into the middle, I don't care if you play 4-3-3. You could play whatever the hell you want. These guys are not delivering. And they have no idea their roles or what they're, I don't know if they don't understand what they're being asked to do or where they need to be positionally, but it's a mess. And I don't think a simple formation change helps it. Like for me, it was an eye opener seeing against Napoli, even Atalanta, just a couple changes in the midfield do affect things. Yesterday, I don't think you would have done anything that would have changed the outcome because these guys were flat as flat can be. But I'm down for a trident and playing that way against Lazio. All that said, because we can't keep doing the same thing and you got to go for broke and try and do something. Whether it's
Well,
3-4-3, 4-3-3.
they're getting Tudor now. They
So,
do have a new coach
yeah.
and an ex-Juve at that. So yeah, let's see how it affects them.
Yeah. We'll
Did he
see,
coach
guys.
this weekend? Did he coach this past weekend or no?
Tudor?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he was in there. I'm not 100% sure, though.
I'll check
Keep the
it
store
for
in the
you.
barn questions coming, you guys. I'm just flying through them right now. If I missed any, just fire them in again. We'll go. Would you bring Mandzukic in as an assistant manager? He gets along with Max, is the kind of person that players need. He would scream at everyone after a match like yesterday. I don't think we're making any decisions based on Allegri moving forward, to be honest. So this is not a long-term move if it is. But bringing in a guy like that, we're trying to emulate, I would say, AC Milan with bringing in Zlatan in a role that I'm not really sure what his role is. But I mean, I don't have
This
a
reminds me
problem.
of the remember the ESPN commercials where they brought Tony Cruz in as like the motivator in the office. He was just like tackling people up against the printers. Is that what you want? You want people? You want someone to come in like slide tackle players when they're just going? They're in the breakfast line of the
Yeah,
buffet. Like, what do you
I
want? What do
yeah,
you
don't
want Mandzukic to do?
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
mind.
Exactly that.
Yeah, exactly that. Slide tackles in the
Exactly that.
lunchroom.
And if
Always,
they can
always be
upload it
ready.
to YouTube, that will be super. Better than the training videos.
That would be way more entertaining than the training videos that they do now on social media. But
Trying to
I
scoop your
I
eggs or
have no
catch your
problems
elbow. Like what the?
with guys like that coming in being members of the team. But what's the role? What exactly is the role? I have no problem with guys like that having a piece of Juve being a piece of the puzzle. But what exactly is it? What do they do? What like to just walk like Mandzukic just going to walk in and scream at everyone after a match? Well, that's kind of a
This team's too
coaching thing.
soft. This team's too
Yeah.
soft for that. Benetti might
And
cry. He
Mandzukic, I
would
don't
cry.
think any of these guys would want a piece of Mandzukic
Well,
if
see you later
that
on.
were the case. Um, Vedad, if we compare last season with this season, we can see that they are almost identical. The only difference is we started balling after December last year and we were playing until mid-January.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's
Where's part
supposed to be
two?
a second part. There it is. Have we experienced luck in those good times, both last and this season? I see no other explanation for this crappy U-turn.
To attribute luck to us having one loss in the first however many games this was. Like people say, okay, hang on, let me just highlight this real quick. In the first 21 games, we had one loss. That's not luck.
We still only
Yeah,
have four
but we
technically. I
were
mean, if
but we
we're
were
talking
asking here
records.
on the pod. I mean, we were talking about it. If there's a feeling like the same thing that happened last season will happen this season, we're not confident in our performances and getting late wins. Past the 80th minute by one goal, and we talked about it. If it can happen again this season, obviously it did. It's even worse than last season, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
This
did
is, yeah.
happen later, and yeah, last season we had everyone resigning and Champions League and then Europa League. So it is kind of different. It was actually a tougher hand last season. Should be better this
Yeah, there's no
season.
external factors this season. Last season was a nightmare.
I think,
That's a good point.
you know, luck, I mean, you also kind of create your luck. We worked
Exactly.
our asses off. We worked our asses off second half last season, and this season we were working hard.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the failure was the coach doesn't like to rock the boat. And even while we were succeeding this season, I was still asking for, can we balance out the left flank, please? Can we find a solution there? Can we maybe just test a few things out in the midfield to try to ramp up more influence out of the game, out of the middle of the park? Can we stop playing teams that shut down the flanks and have no idea how to play? We haven't done enough to take the next step as a team. So I don't think it's necessarily luck. We just worked our asses off, but we never pushed for evolution. And in not doing that, we've kind of created this shitstorm ourselves. Because now you've hit a rut and you have absolutely nothing to fall back on. And there is no alternatives because you put all your eggs into one basket. That's the biggest thing I see with this U-turn. But I still stand firm. Something behind the scenes has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what. Something has happened.
I'm
Someone
not
got
buying
grabby in the
it's
shower.
the red card. It's that one draw 2 months ago that just crumbled everything.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that.
We had a
No
big
way.
thing on that earlier on in the show after post-match, and we're not buying it either. Something is happening.
There is something else here that I just noticed. In these 8 games, in this schneid of 8 games, we've only gone up 1-0 twice. Right? So the 1-1 draw to Empoli, we were up 1-0, and the Frosinone win. So other than that, we haven't scored first. Normally when we score first, we do well. So that's something that we were doing consistently in those first 21 games or 22 games where we were scoring. I think in those games we scored first. Here,
But
It's
even
something we've
that,
been really
we
good at,
scored
and it makes a
first.
big difference.
17 of those 21 games, we scored first.
In the last 8 rounds, Salernitana 2 points, Frosinone 2 points, Sassuolo 4, and then Juve 7.
Yeah, we're in like
17th. 17th in terms of how many points we've got in the last 8 rounds. That's insanity. Standards, something having to change. The messages run dry. I mean, how can you look at what's happened and feel differently? It's hard to feel differently. I get the circumstance around team, but this is tough, you guys. Who did you like yesterday and who let you down? One list is a lot bigger than the other, but Anthony.
Chiesa let me down yesterday. Yeah. Vlahovic was getting triple teamed. So, okay, maybe the header he should have put away. Omer likes to say that's your job. Sometimes as a striker, you only get one chance at it. You got to put it away. So fair enough. I kind of took words out of Omer's mouth, but I think Chiesa let me down. Meretti was hot and cold. I saw people. He was sort of hot and cold for me. I'm not sure what to think of his play. Who was? Tech had to make one. He had to make one save, and he made it.
No, not Tech. I would give that to Bremer.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean he did got man of the match, I believe, and
who did? Bremer?
Everyone else was at least on FOTMOB, yeah. But I mean, yeah, that just pick it out of the bunch because he's the reason maybe we didn't concede, and he was marking out Vitinha. But beyond that, they just let us control the match. I mean, it was all mostly attacking from Juve, and we have like 2 shots on target to show for it.
Yeah, who let me down? Everybody, and the coach. They all let me down. Yeah. Who did I like? Same thing I said earlier. The attitudes of Illing Jr. and Yildiz. And that should speak volumes, especially to guys that are supposed to be key guys.
So why
Vlahovic's attitude, complete shift from everything we were praising him for in 2024, and now it's hit boiling point because that's not the Vlahovic that we've seen, that we've all been praising. And yesterday he was on tilt. And Chiesa looks, I don't even know how to explain it anymore, but like he there's a clear, now there's disconnect on the pitch as well, and he's been giving his teammates shit for balls and everything like that, and then Locatelli giving him shit, Vlahovic giving him shit. Like, everything's just a mess right now.
Yeah.
And this is another thing. As a coach, you kind of do have to keep the heads together.
Mm-hmm.
We're ripping apart at the seams, you guys. It's crazy. The evidence is all
you,
around us.
So you praised Yildiz and Ealing for their at least mentality and the way they got into the game.
The attitude.
Why do we all know they're not going to start next game? I mean, if I had to put money on it, yeah, they're both not starting next game. We're gonna see the same lineup minus Vlahovic and the red card that we saw today. Maybe Rabiot in.
Rabiot will start.
Yeah, Rabiot will probably play. But yeah, I know they're not going to play. They're not going to get rewarded for the way they, just enter the match and try to change something and actually created something.
Yeah. The guys, so Vlahovic not going to the national team due to back pain, which will be monitored day by day. So take that for whatever it is.
He's suspended anyways.
Another injury. He's not going to national team duty. Coaching carousel continues to continue. Italiano is a candidate. Motta has been listed as the hottest name to replace. We're going to finish up with this one as a Storm the Barn, but if you're in charge of the decision to be made in the summer, who would be your handpicked candidate to pull in? Anth?
I would bring Motta in. He's young, right? Everything points to a long-term project here with Giuntoli. So I'd rather a young coach that can grow with these players over 3 seasons, because you got to give the coach 3 seasons. You got to give Giuntoli another 3 transfer windows to really get his stamp on this team. I'm sure he could do it a little bit quicker. He's gonna make a lot of changes, but I'd go with a younger coach like Motta for sure.
Omer.
Yeah, I'm not on the Italiano train. Aside from high press, yeah, he's the way he plays is kind of similar to us, only with higher press, but they cross a lot. Exactly what we saw yesterday from Juve. So it's between Motta and Conte for me, and I don't know. We kind of need both.
Mm-hmm.
We really need that Conte spirit to bring back that Juve and put fires under all the players' asses. But Motta is interesting. It's more of a tactical change, and he can bring new ideas, and he's doing well with Bologna, so there's no reason to not pick him. He'll probably be cheaper, and yeah, it will be a long-term project more than Conte. I'm having a tough time deciding because I need to see how the season ends. Like, if there's no Champions League and if we just finish out of the top 4, Conte immediately. If we are in Europe, then yeah, I would like to see what Motta can do.
Yeah. As against it as I have been, because I hate returns, I think there's a real shout for Conte. But I don't believe they will go with Conte. But I think there's something to be said about a guy that's won everywhere he's been, and looking at this particular team having no identity, struggling with the bare minimum to keep consistent, which is just effort and work rate. And to be honest, I'm kind of sick of how soft our team is, and I think these guys deserve to puke after every training session from what I'm seeing on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of not against that. And again, to pull up his Champions League successes, Justin.
Oh, I'm not aiming for Champions League.
We are
We're not at
so
Champions League
far
level.
away right now.
That's what I was saying.
Do not look at that, because if Motta is, are we pulling in a Motta for a Champions League? Are we looking at an Italiano for a Champions League success? Like, no. Let's get it right first. Let's actually build something. And I'm not saying I would go all out for Conte, but I'm thinking there's a lot to be said for his guarantees and what we could use. Because
he took Tottenham from 10th to the Champions League to 4th from January in the Premier League.
He has guarantees associated with him that are not in question. Stimulus, instant impact, the fight, the work rate, the grinta, all guaranteed. It's domestically does very well. We need to get back to that first. I'm just saying there's an argument there to be had. Motta, I'd probably lean with Motta if it's between the two of them, just for something like Ant was saying, more long term and everything. I'm just saying, I've always been against it and whatnot, but what I'm seeing, there is a serious case to be fought for Conte, because there's a large portion of the fan base that actually would like to see him return. And I'm saying that it's a discussion, but I would ultimately personally lean towards Motta. I see him as more calculated in his approach and more balanced, and a good mix of just understanding matches before, like preparation and how you want to approach certain teams. There's a good amount of homework there. How he's going to do. We have the potential for 4 competitions next season, everybody. That's going to be hard no matter who you're bringing in.
70 games? Could
Imagine
be 70
the Saving
games.
Private Ryan scene in J Medical for that season, okay? But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anybody that comes in. I would say Motta, though. Okay.
By the time we'll be at a Champions League level, Conte won't be here. Even if we bring him next season, will take about 2-3 years at best. Conte won't stay beyond that anyway, so we'll have to sign someone. And look, last season no one talked about Motta. We talked about Sutil, and next year by the summer we might be talking about another name, another new guy who pops up. It happens every season.
The other thing with Conte that I was going to touch on, which you kind of just alluded to, is the fact that there could be something to be said as this team continues to build, get the finances right. Conte over a 2-year term, maybe a 3, and then you have your finances straight. You've built a sustainable model. Your squad, I would hope, is boosted, and then you go out and get your top guy.
Look,
there's something to be said there.
We have seen coaches that were better with lower tier sides and then just drop the ball with the bigger teams, which is also a concern with Motta for me a bit. I would take him. I mean, it's between him and Conte. Conte is more of a guarantee of something very specific that we need.
De Zerbi, I'm a flat out no to De Zerbi. There was a time I was interested and intrigued. It's faded. I am not on the De Zerbi train.
For De Zerbi, defending is optional. It's not a must. That's not what Juve need right now.
60-something goals allowed, like year in, year out, no matter where it's at. No, thank you. No, thank you. That
you have to win. You have to build your team to win domestically first.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, AJC. There are a lot of players who are not Juve material. All are at fault here, not only the Mister, absolutely. Something we have said continuously. It is easy, though, to get rid of one instead of 90% of the current roster. Absolutely. And one thing, I have switched on these players way back earlier on because I was seeing it. I was seeing it against opposition we should have been mopping the floor with and gaining possession. Yesterday, we finished with 66% possession. We had 71% possession in the second half. We had no attempts on target from Genoa second half, and this team, these players, fell flat on their faces. I still stand firm that half of these guys should only have that shirt if they purchased it in store. That might be harsh,
Yeah.
but I don't give a shit. It's what I'm seeing. They're
That's
soft.
also a thing. That's also a thing. One last point. Conte can turn water into wine. He can make players seem a lot better than they are. He can win the Scudetto with Peluso and the Celli as left backs in 3-5-2.
He almost
Okay,
put Giaccherini in the Hall of Fame.
he can make
Unbelievable.
Giaccherini a great player. He can pull stuff out of Vucinic and Matri and make them play above their level, which is kind
Because
of
of the
guys right now.
collective. And right
Yeah.
now, you're watching a team that is broken and trying to do everything as individuals.
11 strangers. 11
That's not
strangers on the
shining a
pitch.
good light on the guy in charge. You guys, we're going to wrap things up there because who knows what's to come. I'll keep you up to date on all the news and everything, but change has to come. We do have a break now. Juve definitely needs to take advantage of this in any way, shape, or form. Take advantage of this break, but I think to expect what Anth and Omer also said with 9 games remaining, we might have to just strap on those seatbelts, buckle up for the bumpy ride. It's going to get bumpy, and let's just see what happens. Lazio is on deck, and then, of course, the Coppa Italia to follow as well. Let's see what happens, everybody. No matter what, you guys know the drill. It's fino alla fine. It's Forza Juve. No matter what, let's see what goes down. We'll approach the next one, but points, critical. Top 4, critical. An absolute must. Whoever the hell is going to be there come these next 9 games,
It's Max.
just get the job done for Christ's
Come on,
sake,
Max.
okay?
Get it done. God damn it.
Get the job done. This season, these next 9 games could end up feeling like an eternity, for God's sakes, okay? Looking over our shoulder to Bologna and Roma, for Christ's sake. God help us all, okay? That's what it's come to. They stink, but, you know, as Ant likes to say. However,
We do.
this is where we're at. We'll see. Omer, better late than never. Ant,
Hey,
always
You
an
gotta adjust
absolute
your
pleasure.
times. I mean, you
Time
moved
change
across-
still got you rattled, eh? Okay.
I think
Yeah,
you guys
I
change your
mean,
time next week. Maybe next week you guys change your time. Maybe.
Yeah.
30th.
We should do
some.
we will do something
Another 2
over the international break, okay? We'll have a little bit of fun and everything, and it'll probably have to do with some competitions for the next kit giveaway, all right? So congratulations,
Congratulations
to Dino.
Dino.
Off of Twitter. So I announced it on the preview show. He won the 84 Ariston kit. We now have a Bremer and a Cambiaso available. That's the final one, okay? 10 has been reached. Now we have a little fun one coming up for all you guys. And it's going to start with a vote. And maybe we'll do it over international break. The first one is the vote, where we will get the top 3 favorite AJC team members to try and win that final kit. All right. So fun to come over the international break. You guys take care. I'll keep you involved in the news. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Ciao tutti. Management, fucking do something.
Set the tone.
Set the tone. I need a reaction.
Yeah.